make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The revolution starts now.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Turn those machines back on!
And we have to start by building a wall, a big, beautiful, powerful wall.
Show me the money!
You are fake news.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
I don't know when they decided that they wanted to make a virtue out of selfishness.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
The roof was always leaking, no heat for days. No matter how it cleaned, the house was always in disarray. Yeah, our friends, they would climb through the window. They would wait for me and you. And that's the way it was on Elevator Avenue. We'd smoke and drink and strum all through the night. Oh, and if the cops weren't there, we knew something wasn't right. Oh, yeah, we worked our job by day. I live on, it was true. And that's the way it was on Elevator Avenue. Sometimes this place was a whorehouse. No one ever seemed to mind. No, they knew what they were getting into. Oh yeah, they knew our kind. How the rent was late, the bills weren't paid, but somehow we thought we had it made. We got through. Oh, on Elevator Avenue. We were looking life in the face, but still going through it blind. But what a time we had on Elevator Avenue. Oh.
The one, the only, Dan McCoy. Here at Lake Effect Radio, streaming live at lakeeffectradio.org/studio on the Revolution. You like my cheesy opener for the beginning of it?
That was a good opener, yeah, I like that.
It took a lot of years in the making for that.
It's all good, though.
So, how's it going today?
It's going all right, man. How are you?
You know, going, living a dream,
Right
hating the stuff outside,
I know. I was not, I know it's November. I know it's Ohio. I was not ready for this just yet, but whatever. I guess we got to deal with it, you know?
Yeah, sadly. Otherwise, we just need to put a big giant dome over our area.
That wouldn't be
almost like The Simpsons.
right?
Industrial grade heaters and that.
That might be a bit much, I think, but you know, to each their own, man.
I know. So, it's been a while since over the summer down at the Rib Cook-Off.
Yeah.
For a minute, isn't it?
Yeah, that was back in May, yeah.
What have you been up to?
You know, a little of this, a little of that. We started recording my band and I started recording a new album. God, I don't even remember when we started. It's been so long now. We've been working on it for a long time. But earlier this year, we'll say, we started working on a new album. We're putting the finishing touches on the recording process of it now. And we're looking to have it out by about March 6th or so. So we're recording that. I've been playing a ton of shows this year. I think by the end of the year, I'll have about 85 or 86 shows under my belt. So I got to travel around a little bit this year. I got to record down in Bristol, Virginia at my buddy's studio down there. And got to play in Nashville and Pittsburgh. I'm going up to Buffalo day after Thanksgiving. So, yeah, having a good time, man.
You've been around for a minute there.
Yeah, a little bit.
All over, wherever, any place.
Yeah, I love to play, and it's cool to go somewhere else and play. It's inspirational, so it's kind of nice, you know?
Don't worry. We'll touch into that.
Yeah.
My later different questions that I got for you.
I got you.
Or I could just start off a little now.
What's that?
Or I could just start off with one of those right now.
Yeah.
Sort of grab your interest.
Yeah.
So, if you could play anywhere in the United States, where would it be?
Anywhere in the United States? Well, it would have to be somewhere I haven't played before, which is a lot of places. So, boy, that's a good question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before. I think Austin, Texas kind of jumps into my mind. Seems like a really good music town. A lot of great music has come out of Texas, especially Austin. Stevie Ray Vaughan's one of my favorite guitar players, so, it seems it would be fitting. It'd be kind of cool to play down there.
Fair enough.
Memphis would be a cool place to play. I was down there in April. I didn't play there, but I was visiting. So, but I didn't get to play there. But Memphis would be a cool town to play too. So,
fair enough.
I'd put Memphis and Austin probably up near the top.
Fair enough. I like it.
Yeah.
But we'll sort of start off a little more basic in that. So, what got you into the whole interest of, I want to pursue being a musician?
Man, that started when I was probably about 3 years old. When my parents were still together, my dad was a musician, so there was constantly music in the house. My mom was not a musician, but she listened to all different types of music. And from my earliest memories, I can just remember wanting to be playing guitar and singing and entertaining people, and then I'm doing that now. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, of course, I'm not doing it on a grand national stage or anything, but there's still a lot of satisfaction in what I'm doing. So I enjoy it, and when I don't enjoy it anymore, I won't do it anymore. But yeah, it started really early, just being kind of bombarded with music at a young age, and that's not a bad thing for me. So
fair enough. Well, it's sort of like how you say it's a little inspirational in a way of, you're occasionally like, it's almost like everyone, your songs, depending what song that, even if someone's in a bad mood, good mood, whatever.
Yeah, well,
it sways people.
That's the beauty about music. Is, there's something for all occasions,
Yeah.
I mean, you go to funerals and there's people playing music there. And
yeah.
I went to a friend of mine's father passed away many years ago, and he used to be the drummer for Frank Yankovic. So they had like a live polka band at the funeral home. You know what I mean? It's not something you'd really think of, but music for all occasions, man. I mean, like you said, when you're in a good mood, a bad mood, sometimes when you're in a bad mood, music pulls you out of that. I don't know. I listen to a lot of punk music and stuff, and I like listening to that when I go to the gym and stuff like that. It gets that adrenaline flowing and stuff, So yeah, there's something for everybody, and that's the beautiful thing about music. It's a universal language, You don't have to worry about political boundaries or even racial boundaries or anything like that. Music is just universal, And if you put those things aside and just listen to it and enjoy it, can be a very healing thing, if you will.
Fair enough in that. So, off of that. So, what was that first instrument you ever played? And I don't count the recorder or the kazoo.
I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, too. And I've never played a recorder. I never had to play a recorder. Maybe I'm just too old. I don't know. But the first instrument that I ever played was a saxophone, actually, in fifth grade. And that started around the same time I started playing guitar. So saxophone and guitar are probably that. I don't play saxophone anymore, but kind of kicking myself for giving that up. But
it sort of happens every once in a great while,
Yeah.
Things, you find a better instrument. Like me, I used to do, trombone and that, then sort of moved to bass guitar and that, then...
Yeah.
I haven't picked either one of those up in a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to be a drummer, but growing up, my mom and I lived in an apartment complex, so there was no way that was happening. So I ended up picking up guitar, and I'm still playing it now. I'm not any much better, but I'm still playing. So.
You gotta love the humbleness of it, sort of throwing yourself on a bus.
Right.
But in this industry, you sort of have to a little.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like me, I say I'm the, head clown of here.
Yeah.
And that everyone, oh no, stop that. It's like, You got to be able to sort of throw yourself under a bus just a little.
Yeah, right.
If you can't,
Right.
then you're in the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's that sort of fair thing. But sort of go off of, in a way, I'm sort of going to get a little tougher now. So out of your own music, top 3 songs.
Of the stuff that I've written?
Yeah.
Wow. That's, I don't know if I could pick my absolute favorites, but some that are staples in what I play my solo sets are a song called 3 a.m. Another one of my favorites is probably a song called Catalog, which was, both those songs were originally recorded by my band Rambler 454. And then 3 a.m. ended up on my live album that I put out a couple years ago. I have to pick a third one. Wow. That's a tough one, man. There's some songs that are coming up on this new album that are pretty good.
You could say them.
Even
though people might not know them.
That's all right. We got to get them accustomed to these songs, So, boy, that's a tough one, man. Right now, probably one of my favorite ones, at least it's from the new record, is a song called One Last One.
Okay.
So that one's kind of a fun one. So those probably 3 a.m. Catalog and One Last One. And then when I leave here, I'll think of 3 or 4 more that I like better. But
you gotta always hate when that happens.
Yeah, well, that changes with me a lot. Like what's your favorite album? What's your favorite song? Well, it changes from month to month. It's not always the same thing.
Depending mood of the day.
Yeah, a lot of times it is. Yeah, my top 5 albums have remained pretty steady, but like the 6 through 10 have always changed. So especially when there's new music coming out and something else blows your mind. So
no, fair. I understand.
Yeah.
Not letting everyone out there in the different lands of all the different streaming platforms, you can feel free to add in questions or either call or text in at 440-940-6615.
But don't call my phone because I'm not going to answer it.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Now everybody's going to call it.
I know. You got to have that one do it just out of spite.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what always happens with musicians. You get the one person that, well, you should ask them about, blah, 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 blah time.
Right, yeah.
Or that one person that just calls or does something just because the person said, not to.
Yeah. Usually I'm that person. Oh, they said don't call. I'm going to call them right now. So.
Well, we'll have to check after this. That'll be funny, necessarily, to see if anyone does. But that's kind of funny. Everyone, because at first when I was sort of always asking that question, everyone goes and says, oh, I always did one. They're like, I can't do just one.
Yeah. I can't even do 3. I mean, the album that we're working on is going to be, I think it's my 11th album that I put out. I put my first one out in 1994 with my old band called Block. Mm-hmm. And so here I am all these years later still writing and recording and excited about this album too. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
I gotcha. So I'll go of... Naturally, we should go more about the band, too. I was thinking, too. I should have did that in the beginning a little. Like, sort of description of what you guys do and all that.
Like your style of music or whatever? Yeah. I always find this to be kind of a tricky thing to answer because I think in a musician's mind, the way we perceive ourselves and the way we actually sound might be 2 different things. But we're influenced a lot by, like the classic rock stuff and the veteran rock stuff. A lot of Tom Petty, Bob Seger, Bruce Springsteen, that kind of stuff is what we're influenced by. And then the bands that have come after them that have been influenced by them and have made somewhat of a name for themselves, bands like Lucero and Will Hogue and, there's so many that have come out after that. We kind of follow in that line of, I guess you call it traditional rock. I don't know what the proper genre term is, but we just like rock and roll music, and we have the country influence in there. I think there's a little bit of a soul influence because I grew up listening to a lot of like Atlantic soul and Motown and stuff like that. But then, like I said, I listen to a lot of Misfits and Sex Pistols too. So it's quite a potpourri in my MP3 player on my phone. So
no, that's like me. I got all that. It's kind of funny, the different genres from what you sort of thought that it's even grown from that.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Yeah. Well, that's why you see a lot of people are all up in arms about calling the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because, you've got groups like NWA and Public Enemy and Beastie Boys, and then you've got like Madonna and Michael Jackson, which aren't considered rock and roll. It's more pop music or contemporary music, and I think if they change it, that would probably be better. But like over the years, I guess getting back to my point was over the years, rock and roll started in the 50s, and it was kind of all inclusive, especially in the 60s. There was no difference in people's minds between what Sly and the Family Stone were doing and what the Beatles were doing. But then it started to splinter off, and you started to have all these subgenres. So by the time you got to the 80s and 90s, it was just, that's why you had all these different formatted radio stations and stuff, And, I mean, I understand it, but it's cool, like you said. I see how everything is expanded off of everything else.
That's like one point. Sort of going back a little bit before even coming in here, like how we sort of talk about like radio stations and that, it's kind of funny that the big push, at one genres and that. Yeah. And now you sort of see like sort of us or just sort of like a variety genre. Yeah. Whoever thought that was going to become like a big circle there.
Right. Well, and the thing with, radio stations these days, I like listening to college stations when I listen to radio because you're going to hear, in my opinion, better stuff. You're not being force fed what the big corporations are, pushing down your throat when you're listening to like the main radio stations and stuff. So I listen to like you guys. I listen to the local college radio stations. There's a guy out of Bristol, a guy I met in April. His name's Moose Roberts. He has a show on Wednesdays and Saturday nights, and he plays just the best stuff that you can't hear anywhere else. It's like this really off the wall, like Mojo Nixon type stuff, country and old blues stuff and old soul stuff, and he does that out of Bristol Radio, out of the birthplace of country music is the radio station or whatever. Yeah. So, but you don't hear that. You won't hear that, and I think that's unfortunate. I know when I was growing up, the radio was a great place. You could hear so many different things all smashed together. You could hear, I don't know if you'd hear like, well, this was the 80s, so you'd have Prince and Huey Lewis and Springsteen, but then you'd have like the Georgia Satellites and stuff, and then you go over, sometimes you'd hear an REM song before they got real big. There were so many different things that you could hear on regular big time radio, and now it's just like the same 40 songs over and over.
Like top 100 or top 50 and that,
And they had that back in the day and everything too, but you had stations like MMS that kind of bucked the system, so to speak, by playing other stuff. And the other thing that was cool about it is they played a lot of local stuff, and you don't really get that now. Now you have to have, college stations are really about the only place that are doing that kind of thing. And
it's every once in a great while you hear the big giants do, but it's more, definitely more locally.
Right. I mean, like you've got bands like Welshly Arms and obviously the Black Keys and stuff that have come from the area that have gone on to bigger things, and you'll hear them, but at that point they're not considered local anymore. So, and I think the culture of Cleveland music in general, not music, but the fan base is not really what it used to be either. People are so used to hearing pop radio and hearing the same thing that you put new music out there for them, and it's like they kind of get not turned off by it, but they're kind of afraid of it at first because, this isn't anything I know,
No, I get it.
There's a lot of people, such as myself, that we go out there and we're like, we don't do this necessarily just to be famous or whatever. We do it because this is an art form, just like painting or photography or sculpting.
Yeah, it's putting your own twist and taste on things.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an artistic expression, And I mean, I'm not reinventing the wheel or anything here,
keeping a style from the back of the days, including sort of putting your own twist on things and all that.
Making my own statement, I mean, it may be a statement that a lot of people have heard, or maybe it sounds familiar, and I'm okay with that, It's still my statement, And so the songs are still my stories. If they're relatable, fantastic. That's the beauty of music, So, and that's why I like Tom Petty and Springsteen and all those guys, because I could, when one way or another, even as a kid, I could relate to a lot of the stuff that they put out.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yep.
That's like even me every once in a while forming probably 2-3 weeks. I sort of do off sort of some old school, but try to mix in local stuff into it.
Yeah.
Sort of the form in that.
Yeah.
It's like every 2-3 weeks, sort of wing it and, throw all that about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I sort of go back and forth.
Yeah.
Sort of doing the 90s stuff, throw in local stuff, old school.
And that's what was the beauty of radio used to be.
Yeah.
Is when you do stuff like that, and that's why I tend to gravitate towards college radio. It's just because you can hear more of that, because people like you are doing stuff like that, where you're putting in local stuff and bigger names, and then obscure stuff you've never heard of. And with being that we're in the digital age, if that's obscure stuff, you can actually go look that up now. So it's like, oh, cool. Where back in the day, you'd have to go over to the record store, order it, wait 2 weeks from the guy call you, hey man, your record's in.
Yeah, I know. It's sort of scary. But the funny thing, sort of going back, what was it? Probably almost 2 years now. It's sort of surprising to see vinyl coming back, especially sort of came from the local scene pushing it back.
Yeah, well, one of the guys that I work with, and that's a good friend of mine, his name's Clint Holly. He has a company called Well Made Music, and he got this lathe from Germany or something like that, and he rebuilt it, and he started cutting vinyl records, and he's one of the top guys in the country now. He's got some of the projects that come across his desk is just, he's got John Coltrane reissues and Willie Nelson stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he has a sustainable business now doing that, and he has 2 lathes now. So he's got one here in Cleveland, he's got another one down in Bristol, which is where I recorded in April. And so, vinyl is making a huge comeback. And I think that's kind of cool, Obviously, the digital thing is way more portable, obviously. You can be in your car and stuff. But still, it's kind of cool to just kind of chill out at home and put a record on. And when it's done, you flip it over and put it... I don't know. It's got that warmth to it. And for me, it's a nostalgic trip because I have a ton of records at home. And mixed in with my mom's old records and stuff, too. So, vinyl's making a huge comeback. And I think that's a pretty cool thing.
Not believing that the local scenes around sort of pushed it back.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That was sort of that mind-blowing thing, sort of thinking of that sort of went away. Then you have the local guys sort of pushing it.
Yeah. That's great, though.
Especially seeing all you guys around and that. So many people are now printing their stuff on vinyl.
Yeah.
There was sort of a select few always doing it, but
it's
sort of...
It's the only thing with that is now, because it is kind of becoming I guess you call it more the hip media.
Yeah.
It's a little more expensive. So back in the 90s when I made my first couple albums, we put them on cassette and CD, but because it was more affordable. We would do cassette actually before we would do CD, because putting it on CD was more expensive. Now it's gone the other way. Doing digital music is not a problem at all. It's not very expensive at all. But putting it on vinyl, just putting, I think around 200 or 250 pressings of just one album is up in the thousands of dollars. So
I believe it.
But that's a pretty cool piece of material. You have a good, cool physical copy. Plus, you've got the big 12-inch. You got the album covers coming back, so you get album art again, which was always real cool,
I feel it.
Yeah. So I think the vinyl push is a good thing.
It definitely is. But you want to play?
I'd love to play you something. I'll play one of the songs I mentioned, actually.
Okay.
In fact, I'll play 3 a.m. right now. Truck driving man, well, he knows my face, 'cause I seen it scattered all over the place. Couldn't quote in the paper very next day, with his mouth dropped open, got no words to say. 'Cause it's 3 a.m. on a PA highway, dead man song being sung. Eyes wide open, the mouth wide shut, and it's wrapped around the gun. With a muzzle flash, the deed was done, and no one really cares. 'Cause it's 3 a.m. on a PA highway. Well, now it could be anyway, yeah. Grandma's expecting me to come walking through that door. Well, there was no way I could look her in the eyes anymore. Had enough of the ridicule, shame, and abuse. Stopped along that highway, cause it seemed the best excuse. Cause it's 3 a.m. on a PA highway, dead man song being sung. Eyes wide open and mouth wide shut, and it's wrapped around the gun. With a muzzle flash, the deed was done, and no one really cares. Cause it's 3 a.m. on a PA highway. Well, now it could be anyway, yeah. Well, I was born Matthew Owens, to my neighbors I was strange. It really doesn't matter now, cause it's just another page in the story of my life that no one could explain. It's all over now, so you can move on just the same. Cause it's 3 a.m. on a PA highway, dead man song being sung. Eyes wide open, the mouth wide shut, and it's wrapped around the gun. With a muzzle flash, the deed was done, and no one really cares. Cause it's 3 a.m. on a PA highway. Well, now it could be anyway, yeah. Well, it could be anywhere. I said now it's 3 a.m. Well, now it's 3 a.m.
Very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, how did that song come about?
That one was written when I went to college. There was a guy that by the name of Matt. He was actually originally from Geneva, but we ended up meeting at art school down in Pittsburgh. And he was kind of he was an unusual guy, but not like in a bad way. Like, he was just one of those guys that was a very unique person, had a very unique personality, and just wanted to fit in but be himself at the same time, you know what I mean? I think he just wanted to be...
Running both lines in a way.
Well, I think he wanted to be an individual and be accepted as that individual, you know what I mean? Instead of just trying to be put in a box or whatever. And I think he was very misunderstood. And I mean, he had probably had some other demons going on and everything, so... But he was kind of socially awkward, I guess, but... He was kind of in our little group and everything. He dropped out one semester and moved back up here to back out to Geneva area. And the story that I was told was that his grandmother lived somewhere out in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So he just got in a car one night and was going to go visit her, and pulled off to the side of the road on the Pennsylvania Turnpike and put a shotgun in his mouth and killed himself. And that was the first person that I've ever been close to that I've known that has committed suicide. And it just really shook me up. And I felt bad for the guy because I think it was just a matter of him just being misunderstood and maybe people not really giving him a chance. And I think, had he been given a chance, he probably may not have done that. Maybe he would have. I don't know. No, we never know what anybody's dealing with in their brains. So, but I just felt compelled to write something about it and kind of... I just kind of tell the story about it, and so I got contacted recently by his family because through some mutual friends, I kind of talked to his family, and they were interested in hearing the song, and I was real nervous about that. Man, I hope they don't get offended, because I didn't mean any offense by it. I was just commenting on the situation, and fortunately, they were not offended by it, and they were. I don't know if appreciative is the word I would use, but they thought it was a good song, and it was
sort of good awareness, appreciation.
Well, I think they were appreciative of the fact that somebody recognized what had happened, and that he's not really forgotten about.
Yeah,
in some small way, he's kind of immortalized, I guess.
It's sort of a presence.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, I like to think of that song as. Sort of, I don't even know what you hear that song and it raises awareness, that, give people a break, cut them some slack. You don't know what's going on with them. And, You never, I mean, you look at Robin Williams would be like a good high profile version. You know, nobody would have ever thought in a million years that Robin Williams would kill himself, you know. And I think it's probably the same way with a lot of people that go through that. And so I think that song, it's not necessarily a suicide awareness song, but if it's seen as that by some people, if someone hears that and it kind of reaches them and touches them in some way and it prevents them from doing that, then by all means, I'm very happy with that, you know. There again, music for all occasions, you know. You have music there's songs that I've heard over the years that have just made me feel so much better. And like I said, if this song can help someone out in some way, then great.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. And like I say, it's weird that I think that that's one of my favorite songs of mine because it's such a dark subject matter, such a dark song.
Well, it has more of that personal meaning in a way.
I think so, too, yeah. I think you're right on that.
You know, personal meaning, sort of story behind it, probably.
Yeah, and like I said, I think a lot of people, more people than probably want to admit it, can probably relate to something like that. You know, whether they know someone or someone in their family or whatever the case may be, themselves. You know, I think it's unfortunately a very relatable topic. And it just seems like you hear more and more about it now. And I don't know if it's just because we're constantly bombarded with media or what, but it just seems like, you know, suicide rates, whether they are at an all-time high or not, I don't know, but it seems like you seem to hear about it more often, that's for sure.
Compared to, you know, you go back to the 60s.
Even 5 years, you know,
You know, 60s to now, probably it's a huge increase there.
Right.
I wouldn't be shocked on that.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that song. We put that album out in 2005, so I probably wrote it around at least 2003 or 4. Yeah. So if not before that, it might have been one of those songs I had hanging around for a long time, and it didn't find its way onto an album until later. But
sort of that back burner project that sort of ignited itself. After
I mean, even on the new album that we're working on, there's a lot of these songs I've had written for a few years now. It's just I haven't found the right project in the right time. You know, it's a timing thing. So, but
no, I get it.
Yeah. So, like I say, if that song can help anybody out, by all means, and you know, I see no shame in anybody asking for help if they have an issue, if they think they have an issue. It's not whining or anything like that. It's not a, you know, hurt your pride thing. If you're having trouble, man, talk to somebody, anybody, and try and figure out what the issue is, you know? That's my statement on that. So
here, I got some other things for your statement.
Okay.
So, if you could work or collaborate or play with anyone that inspires you musically, who would it be?
Wow, that's another. You got the great questions, man. Jeez.
I know, and you know the sad thing is,
I was not prepared for this, man. I did not do my homework on these questions. Boy, that's a good one.
Don't worry, I gotcha.
Would that include living or dead?
Either way.
Either way. I mean, there's some local musicians that I'd love to work with. And if any of them are paying attention, I will be in touch with you. I think it would have been great to work with Tom Petty and see his process. I mean, that guy just seemed to span so many different, not just genres, but just reach so many different generations and touch on so many different things. The guy won a Grammy in the country music category, being the backup band for Johnny Cash. You know, I mean, this is a guy that's played Refugee in that band, and they're winning a Grammy for a country album. That just shows the range they have, and just be involved in whatever his creative process was to do all those different types of things. Just is fascinating to me. So he definitely would be one of them. You know, as far as like famous people and whatever, he definitely would be one of them.
Oh, I get it. He's sort of one.
Yeah,
I always sort of go to. And that, like, the last time he was sort of coming around and that, it's like, oh, I should go see him. It's like, no.
Yeah, see,
that was a very bad idea.
I had seen Tom Petty every tour since Full Moon Fever in 1989. So I did see him on that last one a couple of years ago. So, yeah, when he died, man, that one shook me up. I mean, I literally, I'm not even making this up. I'm not exaggerating at all. I cried heavily, like I lost a family member for about a half hour after I got home from work that day. I mean, I was sobbing. It was it was bad. I couldn't even talk to my neighbor. I got out of my car, and my neighbors were, you know, in their yard there. I couldn't even talk to them. I was just a mess. So
I feel it.
Tom Petty would definitely be one of them. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, it'd be interesting. I don't think I would ever like working with him because I don't think we would ever get along. But like Frank Zappa, just to see how what his creative process was like, had to be just mind blowing to watch him work. Excuse me, to watch him work. You know, I mean, just that's another guy. Excuse me, that has just such a wide range, and just, I mean, even though a lot of his stuff was satirical, most of it was whatever, but still, it was still genius, you know.
No, I get it.
So I mean, I don't think I would. He would have laughed at me had he ever heard any of my stuff, but it would have been cool to be a fly on the wall when he was creating stuff, you know. So
I gotcha.
yeah.
I know. Welcome to Lake Effect Radio. We got very deep questions. It's sort of becoming that new like outcry in the sort of local scenes.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah.
Like I'll sort of go over this. So if you could, out of your own music, that one song that best describes the band.
Best describes the band.
I know I'm a very deep person.
No, it's it would have to be something off the new album, because this is the first album that I've recorded, with this particular band. I'm just going off my current band.
Yeah.
So the Standing Eights, this new record is going to be, it's definitely a Dan McCoy and a Standing Eights record. All of them are on it. I mean, we've doubled up the horns, so we have like it sounds like a horn section, you know. And then Ed, our sax player, he's playing lead on a bunch of stuff, and we've got the harmony vocals and stuff. I mean, this album is definitely going to be what we sound like, and I think probably Introductions, which is a song which will be the first song on the album. That's a good one. It's only a 6-song EP, but I think 5 out of the 6 represent us in a very genuine way. And I say 5 just because the one song we don't have any horns on it or anything. So there's only one song out of the 6 that we don't have Ed on. Everything else we're all represented, you know, both guitars, bass, keyboards, the whole thing. So for the sake of answering your question, I'll go with the song Introductions, but I think you could pick pretty much anything off this new album that's coming out that will be a good representation of what we sound like and where we're at now. Because the next album we may do a bluegrass record. Who knows, you know?
Yeah, you know, time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly working on songs. I have all kinds of songs, and you know,
definitely finding here and here the uses of, you know, sort of written material, or I got these melodies, but they had the lyrics in that.
That's exactly
you just pull it out.
And that's exactly what I do. Like my phone is like full. I have an app on there that I'll get an idea in the middle of the night or something, and I'll literally wake myself up and I'll sing into my phone, or I'll grab my guitar. I always have a guitar next to my bed, and I just start playing something and, you know, get an idea down. So I'm constantly working on something. You know, there's not a week goes by that I'm not working on something, and it's all over the place. You know, there's some, I don't want to call it heavier stuff, but more punk-oriented stuff, more like a Gaslight Anthem type stuff. But then I've recently been working on more like country bluegrass type stuff, and then a lot of more folky stuff, really finger picking with just an acoustic guitar and a voice kind of thing. So I'm all over the place. My brain is very jumbled, you know.
But in a way, that's not a bad thing. You sort of keep everyone on their toes. They only expect one style. It goes sort of back of being, you know,
yeah,
a variety.
The only band I can think of that could get away with doing the same thing for their entire career would be AC/DC.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could put a bunch of songs of theirs, like deep album tracks, and put them all together on a playlist, and I couldn't tell you what album they're from. But they're about the only ones that can get away with doing that, making a career out of that. You know, you got, like, David Bowie's a good example. Every album, he seemed to reinvent himself, you know. So, yeah, having variety, I think, is a good thing, you know. And it's not always about just for what you do, you know. Like, we have a song that we put out on the first, not the first, it's actually my second solo album that my buddy Greg Markell wrote. And so You know, he didn't record it, but we recorded it. So even when I'm writing, you know, it's like I may not use this song, but one of my songwriting friends may hear it and want to record it or something. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily just for me. So having that variety is definitely a cool thing. They say variety is a spice of life, you know, and I kind of believe that. So
Yeah, it's sort of that good thing.
yeah.
I'll go here. A year from today, where do you want to see you guys, or what you guys want to accomplish?
Well, we're all old, so I think at this point it's just about the artistic expression, as I spoke of earlier, and just having fun and going out and playing these shows. Even if they're just local shows, it's fine. You know, we have a good time. Have people come out and maybe escape their troubles or whatever the case may be for a few hours on a weekend or something. That's what I love about music. You know, like last night I went to see Elton John. You know, for 3 hours I got to listen to hit after hit after hit, and I didn't really think about work or anything else that was going on. You know, it's just nice to be in that moment, and that's what I like about this band. So I think for now, that's really the main thing, is just to go out, have a good time, put some good music out there, at least stuff that people aren't plugging their ears on, you know.
No, I get it.
I keep the bar very low. But that being said, I try to push myself each time I write something, you know. So
In a way, every once in a while, you're sort of your worst critic, but it's sort of a good thing of, in a way, sort of pushing yourself to go higher.
I'm always doing that. Yeah, like when I put out an album about 10 years ago, actually, called the Journeyman album, and I wrote the songs for that, and we recorded that, and I was really happy with that record. And I'm like, I don't know that I'll ever write anything better than this, you know. I think I was just somewhat drained from the whole writing, recording, mixing process, you know, like that whole thing, and so I just kind of needed to decompress for a while. And then I almost immediately started writing again. And so I'm like, okay, well, I thought that was my best stuff, so I'm going to push myself a little harder now. So I've had a lot of help with my buddy and bandmate, Tim Brennan, who is my bass player from band Rambler 454. He's been my songwriting collaborator now for pretty close to 20 years now, I guess. 18 years, something like that. But he has helped me take songs that I would write and it'd be 5.5 minutes long and put them down to 3 minutes by getting rid of all the excess, you know. So he's really taught me how to push myself. And I used to be the type of impatient songwriter that would just write whatever I came up with. That's good enough, you know. He's really taught me to push myself and write draft after draft after draft and, you know, do a revision here, a revision there, and that kind of thing. So, and that's helped me a lot. So yeah, I am constantly always pushing myself, trying to be better. Whether or not I achieve that goal, that's up to the listener, I guess.
Fair enough. So you gotta like my one advisor across the street over at Holden. He does his one random question all the time when people come in. So is Tom Brady softer than Cristiano Ronaldo?
Say this again now.
So is Tom Brady softer than Cristiano Ronaldo? So football, soccer.
They're both football, actually, but man, I'm a Steelers.
Well, it depends.
Yeah. It depends
that
on where
one
I'm from.
person.
I'm a Steelers fan, man, so I'm gonna hate Tom Brady anyway. So I'll go with Ronaldo.
Fair enough. But the funny thing is, you know, with Pittsburgh and that, with Big Ben going down, and that guy Rudolph just stepping right up.
And even you can go a step further with that. They brought in Devlin Hodges for 2 weeks when Rudolph got knocked out, and he did just fine. So
I know.
let me. I'm going to say this. I am a diehard Steelers fan. I always have been since I was a little kid. But I don't hate the Browns. I'm not a Browns hater. I'm just a Steelers fan. I love the Indians. I love the Cavs, and I grew up liking the Steelers. So I was really hoping the Browns would not be where they are right now this year. You know, I mean, I was legitimately rooting for them and hoping, because I figured the Steelers were going to suck this year. And for the most part, they have. But they have a winning record somehow, and I'm happy about that. But I was really hoping the Browns would do a lot better. So anybody that's paying attention out there, I don't hate the Browns, and I hope they turn it around here. So there you go.
Nah, it's true in that. You want to go to another song?
I would love to do another song. I'll do one from the new album, actually. This one's called One Last One, actually, which we spoke of earlier. Self-reflection at the end of the bar. I set my gaze yet a little too high. In my button-down plaid and my hair cropped tight, pulling labels off for Coors Light. Can't figure out why they're not flocking to me. I had this worked out down to the letter. 9 shots down, I don't feel any better. There's holes in my theory, holes in my plot. Apparently I'm someone I think I'm not. No angel tonight. And so my night is done. No angel tonight. And I'll have one last one. My confidence was off the charts. Chances of failure not in the cards. I bought the right drink, struck an arrogant pose. World's greatest gift, but nobody knows. Can't figure out why they're not flocking to me. Used the smooth lines and I shot the right looks. Wound up using every trick in the book. There's holes in my theory and holes in my plot. Apparently I'm someone I think I'm not. No angel tonight. And so my night is done. No angel tonight. And I'll have one last one. Do 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 do. No angel tonight, and so my night is done. No angel tonight, and I'll have one last one. No angel tonight. And so my night is done. No angel tonight. And I'll have one last one. No angel. No angel. Big rock ending.
Nice.
Thank you. So that'll be on the new album. That's the closer to the new album. So
It's sort of fitting.
I think so.
That's definitely fitting.
Yeah, the album was supposed to be when I originally started writing these songs, they were supposed to be a very loose concept record of a guy that goes out to one of the bars. Downtown Willoughby was the setting in my mind, and a very overly confident fellow who thought he was just like the greatest thing in the world, to God's gift to women sort of thing, and could pick up any woman he wanted and that sort of thing. And the album was going to follow him through the course of the night, and then so some of the songs would relate to him, some of the songs would relate to some of the characters and people that he would meet. And I ended up abandoning that idea, and I ended up using that song that I just played, and then the one called Introductions. So Introductions is going to open the album, this one's going to close it, and that's how it initially was going to be. I just changed everything in the middle. So
Fair enough.
no, you know what? Old Blue Jeans, which is also another song that's going to be on here. That one was on that out in the concept for that one as well. So 3 of these 6 songs were originally going to be in there. So
Fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough. So how does your songwriting process go?
I don't really have a set thing, but what usually happens is I'll be at home fiddling around with my guitar. There's always a guitar within reach for me. There's one in my living room. There's one in my bedroom. So wherever I happen to be, I'm always just kind of messing around. If I'm just watching TV, sometimes I don't even have the TV on. I'm just sitting in silence and just fiddling around. And if I come across a chord progression or something I like, I'll pull out the phone and I'll record it and save it for later. Sometimes random lyrics will just pop in my head, or a random melody. And the same thing if I'll just sing it into my phone, save it for later, or I'll just start working on it right then and there. So a lot of times, I'd say the majority of the time, the music comes first and then the lyrics. Though I do, like I say, I'll have like random phrases and just like one line or something, a certain sentence. I'll hear somebody say something and I'll be like, that'd be a cool song title, and I'll write it down and then I save it for later, and then I go back and look at it and I go, okay, what story can I write out of that sentence? And using this music, and I'll scroll through the little Rolodex on my phone or whatever and go, all right, these might work together, that kind of thing. So, and then
experimentation, huh?
Yeah. And then I have a little home studio where it's just a little digital setup on a laptop. And so I have a few microphones, and I'll just go in and I'll record it. And it's got a built-in drum machine function. So I can manually do the beat, or I have a set of electronic drums. I can do that too. And I'll just start building the tracks from there. And just because when I write, I don't hear just one part. I don't hear just what I'm going to do. I'm thinking, bass here something like this might sound cool, and I'll start putting a bass line on there and thinking, all right, a second or even a third guitar part doing this would be cool. And what's the piano? This would be cool on a piano, So I just build it up. So by the time I done, I've got a pretty filled out demo, which is kind of nice, I think, for the guys, because then I can just email it to them and go, here's a new one we're working on. Here's the lyrics. Here's your parts. By all means, fix them, because I'm not the best piano player. I'm not the best bass player. I'm a terrible drummer. So, this is just what it's kind of a blueprint, that's why it's a demo, so I give it to the guys, and then we eventually get together, practice, and come up with something that seems to work. So that's typically how my process goes. There's been times, though, like I'll have a melody pop in my head, and I'll be like in a public place. I'll have to like find a stairwell or something, and I'm singing, and I don't even have lyrics. I just have the melody, so I'm just like, la, la, la. Somebody comes in or something like, hey, how you doing? I'm crazy. Don't mind me,
That happens.
Yeah, it does. It's happened a lot, and I've owned it. I'm just like, yeah, I'm weird. I don't care.
But yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like me, every once in a while knowing a bunch of people, you go up and you think, oh, it's like, yeah, that's not. Ooh. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So I think a lot of artistic people are kind of like that. We're just a little left to center. And so if you're around other artistic people, it's not a big deal. But for people that don't understand how that side of your brain works, they just kind of look at you with like what? Don't worry about it. In my world, it makes sense, man. So
no, I got you.
Yeah.
But you have any upcoming shows?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do. This Saturday, I will be performing at Malarkey's in downtown Willoughby, corner of Erie Street and 2nd Street. Going on at 9:30, playing until 1 a.m. I'll be doing all kinds of stuff. Covers, originals, Irish stuff, all sorts of stuff that I can't say on the radio. Next week, where am I playing next week? I have I'm out in Fairport at the Hungarian Club, and then the night before Thanksgiving, I will be playing with two members of my band at Spirits in Willoughby. So, it's the big party night of the year. So if anyone listening wants to come out and hang out, that's where we'll be.
Fair enough.
And you can check out I'm going to do a plug here.
Yeah.
You can check out McCoymusic.com is my website, so you can go on there, and I keep that updated as far as shows. And I'm doing a crowdfunding thing right now for the new album, where we're doing a pre-order. So there's some different packages you can get. So if anybody wants to go on there and give us money so we can finish this album, you get some pretty cool stuff. So there you go. There's my plug.
No, I was going to actually point you at that. Then not like near the end, we'll probably go back to that plug too.
That's all good, man.
And So it's no shame there. I was going to sort of tell you that too.
What's that?
Go and do that.
Yeah.
Plug the website, all that stuff.
I got it all. I've done this a couple times, man.
A couple. I know, it's almost like you sort of have.
Right?
No, I'm just joking. But yeah. But off of that, I'll sort of go of here. So, what's been the most or the best venue so far that you played locally?
Wow. The Beachland is always at the top. What Cindy and Mark have created over there is just I love the vibe in both rooms. I've played both rooms, and that's a great place. Every venue in the area has a unique thing. The Grog Shop, I played both locations of the Grog Shop. That's been a great place to play. Even right here in Lake County, you had Nemus. We used to play Nemus over in Paynesville all the time. That was a lot of fun. Malarkey's is kind of like my home base when I play my solo shows. Beals, Pickles, and Pints, where I recorded my live album, they are always unbelievable to me and the band. They're so accommodating, and they're so great. And we get a lot of people in there for those when we play those gigs. Brothers Lounge is a cool place to play on the west side. It's every place has its own vibe and its own feel. So, but Beachland's probably my favorite one to play. I feel like I don't play there enough, probably because I feel like I'm bugging Cindy every time I ask her to get on a show. So,
well, true,
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, so but she's been very cool to me. Let me get on. Last year I got to, or not, a couple of years ago, I got to open for Scott H. Byram and then Jason Eady, which are a couple country guys. And then just back in August, I got to open for Austin Lucas, which is another guy out of Indiana in that kind of outlaw country, red dirt country kind of thing. And that was just a thrill to open for all those guys. They're all great guys. Then in July, at Pickles and Pints, of all places, they had Dan Baird, who was the lead singer of the Georgia Satellites back in the 80s. Huh. And I got to open for that, so that was kind of a dream come true because growing up, I was a huge Georgia Satellites fan. So the drummer in Dan Baird's band is Mauro Magellan, who was the drummer for Georgia Satellites. So I got to open for half Georgia Satellites. And the guitar player is Warner Hodges, who was the guitar player for Jason and the Scorchers. So, just to be on that bill was really cool. But every time the last couple times they've come through town, we've run sound for them. So it's kind of cool to be able to open for them too this time around. So
fair.
Yeah. So there you go.
Fair. You're that. So I'll go of this. So I know. I'll figure that. So this one. So you're the main act. You could have. And you made it big. You could have anyone open for you. Who would it be?
Anyone open for me? I think I would. I don't know that I could come up with one name, but I would like to probably bring in one of the local guys, or girls, local bands, local musicians. Only because it's been cool to, like the Jason Eadys and Scott H. Byram and Dan Baird and Austin Lucas, these people who have much more notoriety than I do and have been on national tours and stuff like that. They've been so cool to me as just some unknown local guy that I think it would be cool to kind of give that back, give a local act an opportunity to play in front of a wider audience. So, I don't know. I don't think I could think of anything specifically, but should that ever come around, that's probably would be the route I go. That's one of the things that's always been cool about Bob Seger is when he tours, he usually gets a regional act. I saw him in Toledo maybe 8 years ago or something like that, and he had Whitey Morgan open up, which was really cool. Now, It was cool for me because I had opened for Whitey Morgan like a year prior to that, so that was kind of neat. But then I saw him here in Cleveland, and he brought one band from either Detroit or Ann Arbor or something like that. But it's kind of cool that he's bringing like local bands from his area to open up around the region and stuff. I think that's really cool that he does that, So I would go with someone local probably.
Fair enough. Definitely that's go to the humble thing. You can't throw yourself under your bus.
Well, like
for
I
that
say, man,
one.
I mean, people have been so cool to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the opportunity that I've been given for, I'm eternally grateful. You know, even if it hasn't parlayed into anything, that's not the point. The point is that it's been exhilarating to meet these people that are heroes, if you will, you know, and
yeah.
most of them have been really cool, you know, so it's just cool that I feel like I've been given the opportunity to play for their audience and also say thank you to them for them not only giving me the opportunity, but for, you know, putting their music out there for me to hear and you to hear, for everybody to hear. So I feel like it would be cool. It would be cool to do that for someone else coming up too, you know.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. So who was that one person that helped you along your musical, like, journey of sort of saying, you know, because you probably had some bumps and ups and downs with it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a music career is like any other career. You know, you're gonna have highs and lows, and and sometimes you switch gears and whatever. Probably the one consistent person has been my mother. Actually, she came out when I was living in Pittsburgh. I played. Must have been I think it was like my second show ever in front of like a big audience, you know, not including any like little house parties or anything like that. But I think it was my third show that I ever played with a band in front of people, like in a club. It was at a place called Metropole. It was in 1993. Yeah, it was 1993 we played there. And we were on a bill with like 4 other bands from the Art Institute. And the place was packed. And the equivalent of Metropole, if anybody's not familiar, was like probably somewhere between House of Blues and, size-wise, it was between House of Blues and Grog Shop. And it was packed. And my mom drove from here at the time. She was living in Willoughby. She drove down to Pittsburgh to see me play. And ever since then, she comes to most of my shows. So it's really somewhat surreal to see my mother, who used to drive us to our soccer games, you know, my buddies and I, and now she's over here at the bar doing shots with those same guys.
Irony's changed.
It's kind of weird sometimes, but yeah, she's been a huge supporter of mine since almost from the get-go, you know. When I was in junior high and high school, I played in bands, but knowing that my father was a musician, I was always under the impression that she would not encourage me being a musician, so I didn't tell her I was in a band. She didn't know I could even sing until I just graduated high school and did a 4-track demo with my buddy at his house, and I played it for her. So up until I was 18, she had no idea I could even sing. So now she comes to just about all the shows and, you know, harasses me, and but she's there, you know, so she's probably been the most consistent supporter. I mean, I have a lot of other friends that come to my shows on a regular basis, but my mom's probably the one that's been there the most and for the longest period of time, too.
Fair.
Yeah. I drive her nuts sometimes, but, you know, that happens.
No, it's true. It's family. Of course that happens.
Exactly.
It's a mutual thing. You drive both one another nuts.
Exactly, right. And now that we're coming into the holiday season, it's, you know, everybody's going to drive everybody nuts. So.
Yeah.
It's the way it goes, man.
It's how the circle rolls.
Yeah. I think that's why they invented alcohol, actually. But
God, that was a good plug for that. I'm sort of like, you know, sort of struck there. Yeah, you sort of got that.
Yeah, well, you know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But we could do one more song, come back, spotted that again and that. And,
well, since we're talking about alcohol, I think you got a picture of Jason Myers over here on the wall, and he would not let me get away with being on the air if I didn't do a song that somehow involved alcohol. So, so I'm going to do one from my band Rambler 454. We did an album a few years ago called Wire and Wood, and this song is on it. It's called Must Have Been a Good Night. There's a shower running in the back room, fresh sweat on the pillowcase. There's a trail of clothes and it's leading from the bed, and I don't recognize a thing in this place. Car was parked on the front lawn in some neighborhood that I don't know. Street lights a spotlight on a half-open door as if to say, hey, thanks for the show. I don't know her name, but everything's okay, and you know I'm feeling alright. Did I black out? 'Cause I don't recall, and it must have been a good night. Said it must have been a good night. With a burst of light, you know, she swaggered through the door. Dry towel wrapped around her head. Shoots me awake and pours another drink and props herself up in the bed. She said, your eyes are glazed and you started to sway and you were drifting from side to side. So she moved to the top, oh, and took control and said she never felt so alive. I still don't know her name, but that's okay, 'cause I'm still feeling alright. Did I black out? 'Cause you know I don't recall, and it must have been a good night. Said it must have been a good night. Hey! Talked for a while as I pulled on my shirt and then I slipped on my old blue jeans. Trying to make sense of this run of events, but it wasn't adding up to me. See, the last thing I remember, man, it was 10 o'clock and the 4th round of Jim Beam. Somewhere in the night my head took flight. There was no coming down for me. Don't know how we met, but you can bet today I'm feeling alright. Did I black out? 'Cause you know I don't recall, and it must have been a good night. Said it must have been a good night. Well, now it must have been a good night. Said it must have been a good night. Ooh, yeah. Said it must have been a good night.
I have to say, that was fitting.
Right?
I have to admit.
It was that was not an autobiographical song, by the way.
No, I gotcha.
Yeah, that was not. I mean, I've woken up in some strange places and have tried to figure out where I am. That song in particular was not autobiographical. Let me rephrase it. It wasn't 100% autobiographical.
So like 50-ish?
60-40 maybe. You can decide which way the percentages go. That's fine.
I had a feeling it was something like that.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. But yeah, non-Flutie, hit your website one more time.
It's McCoymusic.com, and you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on all that stuff. But yeah, McCoymusic.com. Like I said, we have a new album that we're in the process of recording. We're going to the studio on Thursday, actually, to put some more horn parts on. And if you want to go there, you can see where I'm playing. You can check out any kind of news we have. And there's also a pre-order option on there to get the album. If you want to contribute, we've got some packages on there. Check it out. And if not, just come on out to a show, say hi. We'll do a Jameson. It'll be great.
That's fitting. That's fitting, and that. But I appreciate you coming on in. Good
Thank you very much for having me, man. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun.
I know. I always try and no, not really. I'll always try. It just sort of happens.
Yeah, I understand, man. No, I appreciate you having me on here and letting me plug my stuff and talking to me and stuff. And great questions, by the way, too, man.
I know.
That was, wow. You got me. I got to really start thinking about my answers on some of these things, man.
I know. I sort of always go through these things, always thinking that, but.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Until the next time.